So today we're in the very unique town of Davie, Florida, and there's a lot of people that are gravitating towards this area, so I wanted to come here and show you exactly why. Welcome to Living Fort Lauderdale, where we make videos weekly about what it's like to live in Fort Lauderdale and the surrounding areas. So if that's what you're looking for, make sure to subscribe. And yes, I am a licensed realtor here in Florida, so just as much as I love making these videos, I love even more to help you with your real estate needs. So my number and email are popping up on the screen. If you have any questions or you're planning a move down here, feel free to reach out. I'd love to hear from you. So I was in Davie this past weekend showing homes to some new clients, Devin and Serena. If you're watching this, what's up? But they have a kind of a unique situation where they're currently living in Pennsylvania in a little bit more of a rural area. They have a ton of land on their home, and life circumstances happen, and now they have to move down to the Fort Lauderdale area. But the one thing is that they're looking for that same type of feel that they get in Pennsylvania in this area, while having to commute to downtown Fort Lauderdale. So if you've seen any of my previous videos, you know how tough it can be to find property or a home with a lot of property down here, at least for under $1 million. So that's what brings us to Davie. And as always, when we're talking about these towns, we're looking at 3 criteria, which is location, style, and cost. So diving right in, let's talk about Davie. Davie is a super unique town, pretty much centrally located in Broward County. It's just southwest of Fort Lauderdale, and I mean, the location is probably one of the best things about it. You're 15 minutes from downtown, which is huge for Devin because that's where his new job is going to be. So you're 15 minutes from downtown. You're 15 minutes from the airport, max. You're about 30 minutes from the beaches and about 15 minutes to the Sawgrass and the Everglades. And what makes it so easily accessible is the fact that we got a couple different highway options in this town, which is not really likely in Fort Lauderdale, depending on where you live. So in Davie, you have the Turnpike, you have I-75, and then you have 595, which actually runs east and west, and the other 2 run north and south. And then you have the interchange between the Turnpike and 595 right in the middle of Davie, and then right outside of Davie, you have the interchange from I-95 and 595. So getting around this area is a breeze. And honestly, I don't think it gets much better than that, especially coming from an area where I'm just used to having so many highways. And the fact that this town is so big, which it's about the same size as Fort Lauderdale, it has everything you need, so you literally don't have to leave the town for anything, including all your schools. So one thing that Davie is really known for is its education. They have the South Florida Education Center down here, which is just this massive campus of schools. You got colleges, so you have Nova Southeastern University is the big college here. Broward College has a campus, FAU has a campus, and then you also have all your high schools, middle schools, elementary schools, and you got some top-rated charter schools too. So it's just all in one area that they coined the South Florida Education Center. And I mean, there's over 80,000 students in this little area alone. Now, obviously, not all of them live in Davie because the colleges, people are coming from, you know, other towns and stuff, but this town is just highly focused on its education. And so they made it very easily accessible for everybody to get around. I told you I was close to the airport. It seems like in my videos I can't escape airplanes flying over my head, so sorry about that.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
But you also have the Dolphins training facility, which is part of that South Florida Educational Center. And then right up the street from there, you have downtown Davie. So it's not like your typical downtown. It is under redevelopment, and Like I said, they're not developing it into what you would think a downtown would be. We'll get into that in a little while when we talk about the style. But they got a lot of plans going on for the town. They're building a promenade, which is going to be Davie's first mall in that area. It's over 75,000 square feet of mixed use, retail, dining, shopping. And then they have something called Frontier Square, which they're building, which is another mixed use space of entertainment venues, hotels, stuff like that. So if I had to pick one thing about Davie that just made it perfect, it would just be the proximity and the location. Now moving on to style, I mentioned Davie's a really, really unique town, and that's why it's honestly a perfect fit for Serena and Devin, because you get that kind of country western feel here. But not only that, you also do have some well planned out communities, so you get a mixture of country and suburban. And I had mentioned that Davie is pretty much the same size, square mile wise, as Fort Lauderdale. So it's a large town, but with a really small town feel. I mean, just to get from the east side of Davie to the west side, it's gonna take you 30 minutes. That's how big the town is. And it's cool because when you're driving around like the main downtown area, a lot of buildings have like that old wild, wild west look, like saloon style look. And they really like to preserve that. I mean, so when I mentioned about the redevelopment downtown, they're not building a downtown like what you would see in Pompano Beach or Fort Lauderdale with skyscrapers, but they're keeping it to be more of that small town feel. So a lot of the buildings and the gas stations have that old western look. You're gonna find a lot of nurseries out here, farmers markets, and one of the coolest things is that you're gonna see people riding horses on the side of the street. I mean, there's over 165 miles of horse trails here. And they also have a rodeo ground. So they got the Bergeron rodeo grounds. I hope I said that right, but it's the only one in the area that I know of. And it doesn't only do rodeos, but they have car shows there, concerts, airboat shows, dog shows, and just all different types of stuff for the family. And so a lot of Davie still does have unincorporated area where you're gonna see the ranch style homes with a lot of property. You're gonna see the barn in the front, and it's pretty cool looking because this is just not something you see in South Florida. But at the same time, you have those well planned out communities with gated communities, very suburban. So this is why I call it very unique. And you can even find some homes on small cluster lots in a neighborhood like Forest Ridge. So you have your suburban homes on really small lots, and honestly, you pretty much have it all. I mean, there's even mobile homes in Davie, and then because there's that massive college campus, the campus with all the colleges, you have a lot of condo living around that area too. So it's like you can drive 10 minutes from one part of Davie and think you're in a completely different state, to be honest. And because Davie has that really small town feel, you find that a lot of people are very friendly here. The town doesn't get too much traffic because there's just so much open space. And speaking of open space, if you like parks, there's, I believe, over 40 parks in Davie. I'm sitting at Treetops Park right now, which is a massive park. I'll show you some B-roll because there's just too much stuff in here for me to name. So I'll just show you some footage of what this park looks like. But it was actually supposed to be a golf course, and they just wound up turning it into a park. So you got plenty of options for parks in Davie. And as far as homes go in Davie, believe it or not, you can find properties as low as $300,000 for a single family home on a small lot, and then you're ranging as high as maybe $2.5 to $3 million for something in one of those gated master plan communities with a ton of land, and you pretty much have everything in between. And the cool thing is that you don't need to be at the top of that $3 million budget to find a nice home on a half acre of property, which is exactly what Serena and Devin did. So that just gives me the perfect opportunity to remind you that yes, I am a realtor. Yes, I love making these videos, but I love even more to help you. So my number and email are popping back up on the screen. If you got any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Catch you next time.